G'day guys, today we're having another look at Kerbal Space Program. We're going to be having a look at some of the new features and the additions of patch 0.90. We'll start here in the Kerbal Space Center, just having a look at some of the buildings. I'm actually going to go through and upgrade some of them. The reason that you want to upgrade them is basically because we use the launch pad as an example. If I try to launch a vessel and it doesn't meet specific requirements, as shown, so max vessel size 20 meters by 21.2 meters, max vessel weight 18 tons. So if I make anything bigger than that, it just will not let me launch it. So we'll fly over to the launch pad and we'll go through and we'll upgrade it. So visually you can see it's upgraded, looks a bit nicer. It's actually allowing up to 140 tons and a 36 meter high vessel. Upgrade it one more time, unlimited. So that's fully upgraded, can support any weight, any height, throw as many parts as I want on there, and it's not going to sort of, blow up or anything like that. I'll upgrade some of the other buildings. I'll just do it in a sort of overhead view, and that way you can have a look and see what we've got. So that's basically everything upgraded, fully upgraded. We'll head into the astronaut complex now, and we'll have a look at our new professions. So you can see now Jeb Kerbal is now a pilot, Bill Kerbal is an engineer, and Bob Kerbal is a scientist. Difference between the three. Okay, so as a pilot, level 0 pilot, because they start at level 0, go through up to level 5. Jeb Kerbal as a level 0 pilot has the ability to use the stability assist, so essentially acting as an autopilot. So he'll actually help me fly the vessel. Bill Kerbal, being an engineer, has the ability to repair some broken parts. From memory, pretty sure at level 0 you can only repack parachutes, but eventually you'll be able to repair things like damaged wheels. Bob Kerbal, being a scientist, adds a bonus to the amount of science that I receive for doing anything. So as long as he's on said vessel, I will get 100% return of the science from the parts and the vessel itself. If he's on a vessel when I perform, say for example, a crew report, I'll get a 5% bonus because he's on level 0. It does increase, and you probably need to check out my article. I'll put a link in the description below. Check out the article and that'll actually have the different increments. I go into detail there with that. So that's that. Let's have a look and see what else is going on. So here we are in the Mission Control Center. What I've done just a moment ago is I actually picked up 2 contracts. I picked up a positioning of a satellite, so we're going to launch a satellite, which I'll take you through in a moment, and escape the atmosphere because it's an easy one. We're going to escape the atmosphere with this contract anyway. So looking a bit further into the contract, it wants us to launch a new unmanned probe that has power and an antenna. So that's simple enough, just need a core and an antenna. Reach the designated geosynchronous orbit around Kerbal within marginal deviations. So let's get to building. Right, so this is probably the best time to show the new UI features. You can now go into advanced mode and sort parts by filters. So we'll filter by module. So it's going to show me all of the different modules available for alternators, command, shows me all the different command pods available, control surfaces, so winglets and ailerons, elevators, data transmitters, so antennas. So we'll actually use the filtering. There's other filters there available as well, like resource, manufacturer. I think the most useful is going to be the module, so we'll filter by module. We'll click the command pod first. We'll just make a box probe. Zoom in, and let's get to it. Okay, so here we have a very basic probe. We have solar panels to collect power. What I don't have is, where are they? Site utility. I don't have any batteries, so I'm going to throw a battery here, and I'll put a second one there as well actually. Okay, we'll put that there, but that looks a bit out of shape now. So with the use of the gizmos, which are these things here, I can now offset like so. Oh, hang on. Offset. So I'm basically dragging it into itself. That makes these solar panels look a bit odd, so we'll offset them as well. And there you go. So Originally you would have to glitch these parts into other parts. Now they just let you do it. Rotate is another one. I'll fix this up in a minute, but you can basically rotate the parts as you want on the 3 different axes. Okay. And now we'll just build the rest of our delivery system and we'll get this thing into orbit. Alright, so we've achieved an orbit of about 100,000 meters, both periapsis and apoapsis. So it's a pretty stable orbit. For now, let's have a look at the next step. So switching to the map view, you can actually see there's a circle that's appeared with a couple of different things showing. First of all, it's showing a periapsis, an apoapsis, a descending node and an ascending node. It's also, I'm not sure if you can see it in the video, but it's also showing some dots swirling around. Now what that's actually telling me is where it wants the orbit to be placed. The dots swirling around is telling me what direction it wants me to be heading in. So at the moment I'm heading the right direction, which is obviously a must, so that's something that you need to look out for when you're launching the rocket. This view can actually be seen from the tracking station. So if you go into the tracking station and there is a contract you've picked up, it'll actually tell you this information there, so you can suss it out before you actually launch your rocket. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I think, I'm going to increase my orbit to about, I reckon about 1 million. Alright, so we'll point prograde, that's retrograde. Prograde being forwards along the orbital trajectory, and we'll just initiate a burn, and we'll wait till the apoapsis gets up to about 1 million, and we'll cut it there. Okay, that's just over 1 million. We'll fling around to the apoapsis, and then we'll adjust the periapsis to 1 million as well, and then we'll make the angular adjustments. Flick over to... oh, actually, rather than do it myself, this probe has advanced SAS, so I'm going to tell it to point prograde, and it does it itself. And then I just switch it back to stability assist. Pretty cool. Okay, and let's burn. Pick that up to 1 million as well. Now, if I level out the camera, you can see the angle that it's actually on. So it's quite a large angle. 7.9 doesn't look like a lot, but it doesn't sound like a lot. Okay, that's fine. Now, I'm no good at the maths in this game. I'm very bad at maths in general, so I just look for visual markers. I'm going to line up the camera with the ascending and the descending node, and I'm going to pop a maneuver node where they meet in line with my current orbital trajectory. From there, I'm going to adjust the angle of my orbital trajectory this way until it is actually in line with where I'm supposed to go, which is about there. Okay, so I need to do a 10-second burn. Sorry, 16-second burn. We'll hold that there. Speed up time till we get a bit closer. Okay. And we'll start our burn at 8 seconds. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Burning, 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 burning. Okay. So I'm within 0.1 of what I should be, which I think should be acceptable. The next thing we need to do is obviously just adjust our periapsis and apoapsis. So we'll go from here, because that's the closest point. These ascending nodes, these maneuver nodes, are very useful when doing these sort of things. You do need to upgrade the tracking station, and I believe the mission control station, the mission control room, in order to gain access to them, because they're not enabled by default, which came as a big surprise to me when I started playing the update. So I actually got very good at doing this manually, and I now know my way around the nav ball quite efficiently. So some good that came out of it. Alright. It's an 18-second burn in 18 minutes. Speed up, we'll burn at 9 seconds. Okay, straighten out. There we go. And burn. My ascending and descending nodes are moving as well, which is a good thing. In this case, anyway. Okay, we'll stop it there. And when we get around there, I don't even think we need to do a node there. Just wait till we get around and go from there. Just while I'm waiting to get closer to where I need to burn, if you have a look here in the top right corner, so I've actually already met 2 of the 3 criteria to complete this contract. Launch a new unmanned vessel, launch a new unmanned probe that has power and an antenna, which it does. Maintain stability for 10 seconds. That's going to go on and off as you move. So at the moment I haven't moved for 10 seconds, so it's actually giving me credit for it. When I start to burn, that'll disappear. But what you're actually aiming for is obviously to get all 3, mainly the second one, reach the designated geosynchronous orbit. Now if you can't remember what the particulars were for the orbit, just click on note and it's got them all listed there. Let's make this burn. Alright, that'll do. I'm pointing the wrong way, so let's point prograde. Yep, and we'll burn. Okay, so we're going to be a little bit off. What's that? 2.939. What am I currently on? Ah, we got it. There you go. So the lines have disappeared. All that's left is my orbital trajectory. Mission accomplished. So here we are in the SPH, or the Spaceplane Hangar, and we're going to have a look at the new MK3 parts. So this is the MK3 cockpit. It's the largest of the spaceplane parts. You'd remember in the last video I did showcasing contracts that they had overhauled some of the MK1, which is these ones, and the MK2 parts. They're still there. They received some minor tweaking, but other than that, the main parts that we're looking at today is the MK3 parts. So there's the cockpit. Obviously you can see it looks a bit like a space shuttle. That's the whole point. Let's throw some of the new parts together. So as well as doing the cockpit, they also added a bunch of new fuel tanks and different attachments for it. Zoom out a bit because it is quite big. Let's throw a propellant fuel tank on there. We'll also throw a passenger module. Now this passenger module actually holds, from memory, 18 Kerbals. So there's room for 4 in the cockpit, and then 18 in the back. 18 in this part here. I won't be using that because it's too heavy. We'll put a cargo bay. So there's 3 different lengths of cargo bays they've added too. So the short one, the medium one, and the insanely big one, which is a bit of an eyesore, but I suppose depending on what you plan to lift. And they also unified the MK3 to everything else parts. So that's obviously MK3 to normal round, MK3 to MK2. Oops, this way. Yep. And they also added some MK3 shaped fuel tanks, which are here. Now, to be completely honest, I haven't had any luck with the MK3 parts in terms of making space planes. I believe that it's just my lack of expertise when it comes to the game's aerodynamics. I'm sure I'll figure it out eventually. I mean, I can easily make you an MK2 or an MK1 space plane and have that work, but MK3, forget about it. I've got a feeling that I must be doing something wrong. I just haven't had the time to play around with it, and in any case, it doesn't interest me. Anything I can lift with a shuttle, I can lift with a normal rocket, so that brings us to the final portion of the video, which is basically going to talk about 2 things. We're going to talk about the type of contracts that are on offer, and we're going to talk about the biomes. Every planet and every hard surface, landable surface, has biomes now. The reason that they've done that is for things like, let's see if we've got one. Temperature scans of Kerbin. Yep, okay. So, perform temperature scans of Kerbin. I won't take the contracts, we don't need to. Jump out of there, jump into the tracking station, and these blips are showing up all over Kerbin. They are the location of different missions. So that one that I was just looking at wants me to take temperature scans in certain parts. These parts are the places they want me to go. And now that's on Kerbin, but there will be ones on Mun, for example. There's none at the moment, and there will also be some on the other planets too as you progress. Now, talking about biomes, I've just enabled one of the debugging options to show you the different biomes based on color. So this is obviously Kerbin. You can see the different colors of the different biomes. So the dark green is obviously hills. The light green is lowlands, or midlands, I suppose you could call them. Yellow desert, brown rock. I'm not sure of the names exactly, but each color represents a different biome. So you can actually see different places you can go to. That's Kerbin. Let's head over to the Mun. And Mun's a bit more simple. You've got the big sort of color splotches, which are your main biomes. Obviously the light blue there being the North Pole. Orange is one of the craters. That's another crater. Green, yellow. The dark grey, obviously the Midland craters. See, by visiting each of these different biomes, you are going to receive different bonuses. So you could send the same lander twice to, say for example, here. So you land in the canyon here, which is the dark yellow, I suppose you would call it. So you land in the dark yellow area, and you send your Kerbal out. He takes a surface sample, returns to his ship, leaves it there. You then walk out again, head over into the pink or the magenta area, take another surface sample. That's 2 lots of science that you're going to get. So 2 missions essentially that you're completing. What's another good one? We'll have a look at Minmus. That's the next closest one. Up until recently, the only 3 planets with biomes were Kerbin, Mun, and Minmus. But every planet's received them now. So if we zoom out, we'll head over to Duna, and we'll check out Duna and Mike. So here's Duna. So as you can see, that has biomes now, not as many as Ike, obviously, which is over here. Well, I'd probably say about the same as Ike. Ike's just a bit smaller. Well, that'll do it for me, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.